What is up, everybody? It's Rebecca Johnson of Supergirl Radio, but you can't see me because I have put up an overlay on the screen testing it out. So we are going to be talking about Supergirl 2025 number 6 for this week's episode of Supergirl Radio. Lots to talk about with this one. We don't really have any news, so we're just going to be covering the comic and the comic partially that it's based on because it takes inspiration, as Sophie Campbell does in this run, to other Supergirl comics. So I do see Morgan down there. Are you ready to go? Okay, I just want to check sound and things.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, everybody is good. All right. Well, we all have the Google Doc, I am assuming.
We do.
Okay, so I'm very excited to hear your thoughts on this one. An homage to Adventure Comics 241, I believe it is. So no, 421. I guess I'm somewhat dyslexic. 421, not 241. 421. So if you haven't done your homework, we can go through it a little bit if you are watching and listening. But definitely let us know if you've read both comics because they're very similar. The bonus to Adventure Comics 421 is it has Nasty Luther in it.
Oh, our girl.
So the disappointment with Supergirl 2025 number 6, no Nasty Luther.
Not enough Nasty Luther / none at all.
We have Alina Luther. But
that's not the same.
Yes.
As we've well established.
Okay, so we are going to be talking about both the Supergirl 2025 number 6 and Adventure Comics 421. So we'll be talking about the similarities and differences there, but mostly talking about Sophie Campbell's issue here and her homages to other iterations of Supergirl, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and then we're going to get right into the comic.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luther, Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luther like a different Luther? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yes! Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the character of Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired to discuss and review Supergirl 2025 number 6, which is a story titled Demon Night. Appropriate, I guess, for spooky season that we're getting into. So I don't really like to talk about demons much, but this story is titled Demon Night, and I suppose it had demons in it.
Sure.
Weird looking monster people. We'll talk about that as we get into it. But this issue was written by Sophie Campbell with cover art by Sophie Campbell. Also, Sophie Campbell did the art inside the issue along with Rosie Campy. Camp and Tamara Bonvillain or Bonvillain is what I would like to think her name is pronounced that way. I'm sorry, Tamara, if it
a little
if yeah, but that's how I would like to think that Tamara's name is pronounced. Hopefully it didn't butcher it, but Tamara was the colorist for this issue. Becky Carey was the letterer. Jillian Grant was the assistant editor, and Brittany Holzer was the senior editor. So the description for this issue reads, and I should put up the comic cover so people can see it when we talk about the similarity to the homage of the comic that came before this. So the issue for the description for this issue reads, quote, Supergirl has been twisting and turning each night as she is haunted by visions of her past in her dreams. And with Halloween just around the corner, the town is getting up to all sorts of mischief while our sleepless hero stumbles through her patrols. Can Kara find the cause of her nightmares before her inner demons emerge? Find out as the nefarious Night Flame returns! Exclamation point, unquote.
Ooh.
Now, I would say returns is a fitting word here because this issue seems to be an homage to Adventure Comics 421. So you could maybe see the similarities in the cover for sure, with Night Flame sort of standing with the sword.
Oh, wow.
And the demons kind of overtaking Supergirl. So that is the homage from the cover, but the story doesn't, the homages don't end there. So Adventure Comics number 421 is actually the first appearance of Night Flame. So she does return, I guess, technically in Supergirl 2025 number 6, only appearing in Adventure Comics 421, I believe, in that one instance. But in that comic, Night Flame was a warrior sorceress of a hellish pocket dimension called the Interverse. It was born from Supergirl's dark side. It also includes Nasty Luther as a bonus. So if you like some Nasty Luther, go check out Adventure Comics number 421 as well. Night Flame was created by Marv Wolfman and Mike Sikowski. So I quite enjoyed going through Adventure Comics 421. I felt like Night Flame was familiar to me, but I couldn't remember why. So I had to look it up, and then I read the issue. Lots of similarities in terms of the story and sort of the way that Supergirl comes out of what's called the Interverse. But some differences there, of course. But Sophie Campbell, once again, paying homage to that era of Supergirl, which I really, really appreciate.
That's so exciting. So I obviously did not recognize Night Flame, but I did notice some other references that they had in this issue, and I was like, I love that. Like when I don't understand a reference in these issues, I know that like if I did a little research, like something would pop up. Because sometimes you're like, I don't know, or like we'll be talking, and I'll be like, has that person been in something before? And then we like look it up, and it's like, no. Not really, but in this case, I always know that when I'm gonna pull up like some sort of Supergirl deep cut.
So, do you want to talk about some of those homages that you caught in this story?
Sure. Well, the first one I was like, it was an homage I caught where I was more like, what? And ended up looking something up. So I didn't find Night Flame, but I was like, wait, when Kara was a Red Lantern?
Oh, yes.
This is not a run I'd ever read before.
I believe it's the New 52.
Yeah, I looked.
I don't think I've gotten to this point in the New 52 just yet, but yeah, this is a
I looked it up, and it looks like it's from about 2014 in the New 52. And there was a storyline called Red Daughter of Krypton. Now I'm not. Yes. This is the AI overview. When I was looking it up, so I don't trust it. But but I thought that was really interesting. I hadn't read this storyline, so just by them mentioning it, and I feel like you don't really need to know for this issue like the ins and outs of what happened in that storyline, but it made me curious. I was like, oh, okay, like if Sophie Campbell says that Supergirl was a lantern, I believe my girl Sophie, like she's on it. But it made me do some research and go like, what was that storyline like? What happened in that? So I thought that for me was really interesting to kind of as like a springboard to learn more about Supergirl.
Yeah, that Easter egg taught you something about Supergirl that made you want to learn more about it, and I think that's a smart way to do it. Anything else that you noticed in the issue?
I also noticed there is first off, she mentions being left behind by Superman. I thought that was very funny.
Yes, so that would have been the Silver Age when
Yep.
Superman sticks her in the Midvale orphanage and tells her to stay there until he is ready for her to be adopted. Not the other way around. When he's ready and when he tells her she can be adopted, that's essentially what happens.
Oh, Superman.
Silver Age Superman was the worst.
Oh, cousins, always playing practical jokes on each other. I also noticed, I think, and I'm trying to find it now in the, there was like a 2-page panel where my guess is that it is referencing her death in Crisis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which is behind you right now.
Yes, I
currently.
actually don't have it as an overlay for some reason, but yes, I realized that was probably Crisis because it had Superman and it had Dr. Light in there.
Oh,
which would
that's
have-
who that is. I was like, Superman and the Flying Nun? I didn't know who it was.
No, that would have been Dr. Light, and I believe that's the Monitor or the Anti-Monitor killing her. So yeah, and what's actually kind of cool about it in the comic, in this 2025 comic version, after she has that dream where she dies, the next panel is in Lena Luthor's like med bay, and Luna says she's dying. I can see it in her aura. So her death in Crisis is sort of being seen as they are sitting there in the real world.
Yeah, I also picked up, obviously, there were some, I think, Woman of Tomorrow call outs.
Yes.
Some pretty big ones. The first one I noticed was Crypto.
Yeah, with
being
all the
shot.
arrows. Yep.
And I was like, unless this happens to him often, I think that's a Woman of Tomorrow thing.
Yep.
And then I also noticed the next page when she steals the sword from Night Flame, she's holding it above her head, very similar to the cover for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Also, there's also another Woman of Tomorrow reference that you didn't mention underneath Crypto.
Is it her holding Comet?
Yes, holding dead human Comet.
Dead human Comet. I thought that's what that was, but then I was like, no, that can't be. But of course, that would be one of her deep traumas.
I also I had to look up because I couldn't quite pin. There's also part of that page. There's a little moment with what looks like possibly Linda Danvers crying over someone in a hospital bed, and I wasn't sure who that was. But Ange over at Comic Box Commentary, who knows his Supergirl stuff, said that this is probably Dick Malvern dying from the Tim Sale solo issue, which is a real deep cut, if that is the case. So I'm going to have to go back and look at that. So
to be fair, though, they have mentioned in this run that that Dick Malvern died, right?
True. Yeah, that was like right out of the gate. It was like,
yeah, they're like,
Dick Malvern is dead.
We're really sad about Dick Malvern, who is dead. Oh, okay.
Jeez,
no one actually asked.
Harsh.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that is a reference to that, because we already got confirmation that in this run he has died, so makes sense that might be the specific death that they're referencing.
Also, there was commentary about Cyborg Superman, Kara's father. And what I thought was cool about this is that Night Flame tries to use Cyborg Superman, Zor-El, against Supergirl. And she actually says, I'm not distraught by this. He's my dad. I miss you, Dad. Like, I thought that was a really kind of a very Supergirl thing for her to do. And there's also an homage to the Jeff Loeb run on Supergirl when she is sort of brainwashed or trying to take like Darkseid is trying to take over Supergirl and use her on Apocalypse.
I was wondering what that was a reference to. I figured it had to be something, but I was like, that one I'm not getting. Like the Princess Leia bikini version of Supergirl, I don't know what that's from.
It's not my favorite. The Michael Turner Supergirl art is not my fave. But this is in the Jeff Loeb run when he brought her back after Crisis on Infinite Earths. If you're familiar with the Superman Superman Batman Apocalypse, an animated movie that's also based on this run on Supergirl, where Darkseid has sort of taken over Supergirl and it tries to use her on Apocalypse with Granny Goodness and the such. So that was the Jeff Loeb stuff in there. So a lot of really cool homages to different eras of Supergirl and her history. And this was used in such a way because Night Flame is trying to emphasize Supergirl's darkness. She tells Supergirl, I am the creeping dread within your given form. I am your darkness and you are mine. We are sisters in shadow, and I have been slumbering for a lifetime within your mind. So what did you think, Morgan, about Night Flame and how she is trying to use Supergirl in the Interverse, and what this sort of says about both Night Flame, I guess, and Supergirl?
Yeah, I like Night Flame as a villain. I thought that she was really really interesting, and I like that this whole issue is really about Supergirl. It's about the different, the different things that Supergirl has gone through, the different things that the different challenges, the different losses that she's gone through. And I like that Night Flame is like, yes, I'm going to unlock the darkness within you by showing you all these terrible things, by like kind of trapping you in this nightmare realm where you have to, deal with all of the tough things that you've gone through, whether it's being a Red Lantern or dying in crisis or losing being abandoned by Superman or losing people that you cared about. But Supergirl kind of turns it around on her and is like, all of that stuff is just kind of part of me. And yes, it's hard, but that doesn't mean that it's like that it has changed me in any way. I think that she says in this one panel that you pulled up, so what if I have all this darkness in me, who doesn't? And I think that was such a cool way of having her face down this villain by being like, you know what? Yeah, I do have a lot of darkness inside of me, but like that's just part of who I am, and I'm not trying to get away from that. And I think that we see that in that panel where she shows Supergirl her evil cyborg dad, and Supergirl is just, and she's like, not everybody has like an evil father, and Supergirl's just like, yeah, I kind of miss my evil dad though, like honestly. Like, sure, he wanted to like take over Earth and stuff, and I don't agree with him on that, but also like, we had great game nights back in the day.
he still was my dad.
Exactly. I like the idea of Supergirl being like, sometimes things aren't just all bad or all good, and like these things that have happened to me, I like obviously are traumatic, but they have made her a stronger person. The darkness inside of her isn't a deterrent to her, really. It's something that she has learned how to embrace and just kind of carry forward as part of who she is.
And I don't know if I would describe some of that as darkness. I would say that she has gone through trying times. She has gone through obstacles that have been put in her path, or maybe sometimes she made some bad decisions. She did end up on Apocalypse with Darkseid, and there are things that maybe she could or could not control about certain things. But most of the time, she does the right thing as much as she possibly can. And I don't think she does it. Okay, maybe there was that one time in Supergirl's history where she became dark Supergirl. But there are most of the time, that's pretty rare, where she's like an evil version of Supergirl. Now, of course, Night Flame sort of comes at the time where Supergirl has... she did almost become Satan Girl. And so I guess there is that dark part of her. I want to defend Supergirl and not use the word dark, but there are things, situations where she, I guess, could be described as dark. Night Flame was awakened during Supergirl's brief stint as Satan Girl, is what they say. So I want to sort of give Supergirl some grace here, that maybe some of those things that happened in her past, to your point, made her a better person. She did not stay that way. She chose to be better in the end. So sometimes I take issue with people using the word dark. I'm like, what does that mean? Does it mean literally that you have no light? Because if you are dark and there's no light, I don't know that I would describe Supergirl in that way. There's always light inside of her. So it's sometimes I fight that when I hear the word dark. What does that mean exactly?
Stanley in the chat says she always fights back the darkness around her. And
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah. I think, has she gone through some periods where she hasn't been the happy-go-lucky Supergirl that we know and love? Absolutely. But I think that this issue was really interesting in terms of the Night Flame character thinking that she was just going to throw a bunch of trauma at Supergirl, and Supergirl was just going to kind of like let Night Flame take over, like take the wheel.
Yeah, because the danger to that is that Night Flame threatens to manifest in Supergirl's physical body and inhabit her waking life. So that is Night Flame's end goal here.
Yeah, Night Flame wants to take over. Night Flame's ready. She's like, I've been in here since the 70s, you guys. It's been a long time for me, Night Flame, and it's my moment. It's my moment to come to break loose. Finally, someone remembers me. And honestly, love that for Night Flame. But she's got like great little what are they, like little horns made out of hair. I like it.
She also does have a flame sword, which is pretty cool.
She's got a flame sword. She's got horns. She's got horns made out of hair. She's really like she's crushing that green on green outfit. So I want what's best for her. But unfortunately, that's taking over Supergirl, and Supergirl's not down with that. And I think Night Flame thought that she could just throw a bunch of trauma in front of Supergirl and be like, okay, she's going to give up and then I'm going to take over. But she hasn't met Supergirl because Supergirl has been through it. You can't just, you think you're going to take over Supergirl because you've shown her like a highlight reel of bad things that have happened to her? She's been through all those bad things.
This happens to Supergirl on the regular. What I thought was really interesting. So there is a moment where Supergirl, she tries to sort of pick herself back up and sort of inspire herself not to give in to Night Flame. But she does have some friends who are helping her. Thankfully, she has a psionic friend who is able to communicate with her on some level and sort of pass along some emotions and of love and friendship to her, and that it gets her out of it. But what I thought was really interesting, and I'd be curious about your read on this, is that so in the end, when Supergirl takes Night Flame's flame sword from her as like a kind of a sign of triumph over the darkness, Supergirl then blows out the sword's flame and explains that Night Flame and the Interverse critters, or the demons, I guess, the demon gnomes in the Adventure Comics 421, 421, I think it refers to them as demon gnomes. They will continue to exist. And she tells them, this is what Supergirl tells them: see you tomorrow, guys. And I thought that was such an interesting thing for Supergirl to say, to your point, as if Supergirl's always going to have this darkness. It's always going to come back around. You can try to do this every day of my existence if you want to, but we're going to just be here doing the same thing because you can't throw all this stuff at me, because it's something that's just part of my history, part of my origin, part of who I am as a superhero. And so I just like that attitude that Supergirl's like, well, the darkness is always going to be here, so I'll just see y'all later.
Yeah, and I like this as you can look at it as a way of being like a metaphor for trauma. Like if you've been through something hard in your life, just because you like work through it doesn't mean it's like, okay, now I'm never thinking about that ever again, and I'm all better now, and nothing bad will ever happen to me ever again.
Sure.
Because sometimes, you might think about the thing that, upsets you, or you might go through something else that like triggers you and makes you think about the hard times. And I think that Supergirl's attitude in this is so kind of inspiring, because she's like, yeah, see you tomorrow. Like tomorrow I might have a bad day again, and I might see all of you little demons inside in the Interverse, and and I might have to, blow out your sword again. But that's what I'm going to do, because like that's what it means to like move forward in life.
Yeah, and I thought it was compassionate that she, in the Supergirl 2025 number 6, she lets them live. She doesn't destroy the Interverse. Now in the Adventure comic number
Uh-oh.
421, things end a little bit differently for Night Flame and the demons.
Is that why Night Flame hasn't been around for a while?
So yeah, so they in that comic they want to steal Supergirl's power and make her face her own evil and take her goodness away from her. And so Supergirl ends up in the end, spoiler alert, to defeating Night Flame by throwing her through a floating pentagram.
Oh,
and that means that Night Flame and her mystical sword are sucked out of existence. So in that version of this story, which is the original version of the story, Supergirl makes sure that Night Flame and these creatures are sucked out of existence. And in this one, she's like, you know what? You can stay here. I know you'll always be here, and I'll see you later because we're probably going to do this again. And so I think it's interesting the spin that Sophie Campbell put on it. There were so many similarities to that issue, but that I think is a really big difference, and I think shows maybe more of what I think of when I think of Supergirl's character. She's compassionate in the sense that like she's not going to just straight out obliterate you, but there's going to be a way that they can kind of coexist. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I really liked that the ending of this issue, and even just the art for that page, the full page where she is like walking away from them. You don't see her face, and you see all of the demons being like, whoa, but they're all in there. They're gonna go about their little demon days, and then you see her like walking through the Interverse. And it's such a cool. I think the colors look really pretty.
Oh yeah,
I think like the art is really beautiful. But I think I agree. I really like that she does. She could have maybe tried to get rid of them or kill them, but that's not like her. That's not her vibe. She's like, they're in here. They're rattling around. But I realize I just kind of have to live with them.
Am I reading into it too much in that image of Supergirl walking through the Interverse that she's like the light in the darkness there in that existence? I don't know. I was sort of reading into that because the purple in that image is sort of creating a wave as if it's coming off of her as she's stepping forward. And so I thought that was pretty cool because everything behind her is so dark. And she's kind of in the light, like there's like a little spotlight around her. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat. I really liked the way that I thought actually the art in this issue I thought was kind of great the whole way through. And one of the things I really liked about it was how interesting every page was, like the way that they set up panels in the issue where where she grabs the sword and she's kind of between the figure of Supergirl holding the sword is kind of like halfway down the page. There's another where she's having her flashbacks about Crypto and Comet and things like that. They sort of blend in and out of the different panels, like along the side, which they also do when they're showing some of her trauma of like Krypton exploding and Superman leaving her behind at the orphanage. They have like these like cool like swirly like black sort of outlines of the boxes. I just think that the page setups in this issue were really, really cool in the way that they like used different. It wasn't just like box. They like used like really non-traditional formats to show the way that like her memories were coming in and out of the issue. And I thought that they did such a good job. I was like so impressed by it. Like I do the panel by panel, and then afterwards I went back and I like just looked at the pages themselves, and I was like, wow, this is awesome.
What I also think is cool about how with them blending it in is that it reminds me that all of these things, even though they happened in different eras of Supergirl, based on the writers and the different the Silver Age and the Bronze Age and the Modern Age and all that kind of stuff. It's all happening to the same character. This is all part of Supergirl's history, whether or not it's a different era or different storytellers who are associated with them. This all happened to Supergirl. And so I like the idea that you're blending all these past histories and moments from the character together to make one sort of cohesive character mythology. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat too, especially because in a lot of the comics, there's like a delineation between like, okay, this was the Silver Age or the Bronze, or this was pre-crisis and this is post-crisis. And showing all of her memories kind of together, like jumbled like that, is just like, no, I mean, like, this is the character has been through all of these things. And if you have been like a loyal Supergirl reader, like, you know what all of these moments were for her, these big moments were for her. And I thought that was really cool.
To your point, this blends pre-crisis and post-crisis together.
It does. A twist.
Which I think a lot of storytellers try not to do, because they're like, crisis was a thing that happened and we have to adhere to it. And it's like, I don't think anymore. I think you kind of do
We're
whatever.
good. We're good. We're a long way out
I
from
think we all understand this. I think
killed our girl. We don't have to listen to her. We don't have to listen to Crisis.
we don't have to revisit any of that. I think we're good now.
She wasn't good to Supergirl, Crisis.
Yeah, so I thought all of this was really cool to see Supergirl's story kind of come to life in one big way. Now, we talked a little bit about Night Flame. Is there anything else about Night Flame that you wanted to talk about before we kind of talk about the Interverse, the theory of the Interverse, I guess?
Ooh, I'm interested in that. I want to surface this comment from Mind the Gap, who said Grant Morrison's Batman was also like that. Everything happened to Batman. Same for Alan Moore's Supreme, which is about a Superman-esque character's whole history up to the 1990s.
That's cool.
So yeah, some other runs have done that, where they're like, I mean, I feel like everything should be fair game.
This all happened to this person.
She's had a long life, and it's been a lot.
So, Night Flame, do you have any other thoughts about Night Flame before we move on?
I think Night Flame is a really fun enemy. I like whenever the enemy is like shows something about the main character. And since Night Flame is like it feels like kind of rattling around inside of Supergirl, waiting for her moment to be able to like, take over. I feel like that's a pretty good enemy. Honestly, I would read like another Night Flame as a villain kind of comic, because I think it shows a lot of interesting sides of Supergirl. And I think Night Flame herself, I like cool character design. I like her little green outfit. I like the flame sword's cool. The hair is cool. Like, I think her character design, like, I see it and I'm like, uh-oh, that's trouble. Like, Supergirl is in trouble.
I also like how Night Flame is introduced with wearing a cloak where you don't see her face. It looks dark and scary, and all you see is the flame sword. So it's a way to hide that she is kind of part of Supergirl before Supergirl even realizes who she is. So I think that's really cool. Her design is pretty awesome, I would say. So Night Flame, I hope Night Flame returns in some capacity. Supergirl, I guess, expects Night Flame to return. So we'll see if she ever does.
Supergirl's like, I'll see you around, Night Flame.
We'll do lunch another time. I did have some questions and some thoughts about the Interverse.
Yes, same.
Yeah, so Supergirl finds herself in a place called the Interverse, which Night Flame says that, quote, the evil that festers inside Supergirl gave rise to this place, unquote. So I guess this is a position in Supergirl's mind that she has kind of, the evil or the darkness inside Kara has created this place. Night Flame also calls the Interverse, quote, a blasted land of eldritch sorcery and fiendish abominations, unquote. The demons even say that that they hunger for the helpless here. What I thought something that I really kind of sat on for a little while was one of the demons here in the Interverse says to Supergirl, your identity is meaningless. Ooh. And I kind of like, I had to stop reading and sort of like think on that, because I think for most of us, I would probably gather to say, maybe not all of us, but most of us, I think, to varying degrees, have an identity of how we see ourselves or how we portray ourselves or how we would describe ourselves to someone else. And I would wager to say that most of us care about that. We care about how we see ourselves, we care about how other people see us, and we care about what makes us who we are. And so I thought it was interesting that here in this interverse, Supergirl's identity, however she sees herself, however she portrays herself to the world, the demon thinks this is meaningless. No one cares who you are. No one cares how you portray yourself, how you see yourself. And even with Supergirl, this has like I think a double meaning for her because she has a double or secret identity. And so I think the identity that the demon's referring to is the identity of Supergirl, seeing her as meaningless because her powers aren't there. But I just also thought that was interesting in a story in which there's another character who was sort of trying to take her place in the real world. Night Flame's like, I would like to manifest your physical body. I want to take over your physical body. And so the idea that Night Flame wants to assume her body, but doesn't think the identity of Supergirl or even the identity of Kara Zor-El was worth anything. Sat on that and I was like, what do I think about? Because that felt really, a lot of these issues have been really fun. They're like kind of silly, like Kara and her friends go to that goth club in Midvale. Like a lot of it's like silly fun stuff.
Very popular goth club.
Yeah, everybody goes there every night. And so I think some of it's just meant to be like a fun Supergirl story. But that quote, I stopped for a second and I had a moment trying to figure out how I saw that. Just to have a demon say, who you are is meaningless here. It's meaningless to me. And I was like, dang, that's deep.
Brutal.
That
is brutal.
I found that very, very interesting. So,
I saw Abby in the chat said, it's interesting that this issue is during Halloween where people dress up and change their identity for a night.
That's true. You can be whoever you want to on Halloween.
You sure can.
Some people maybe shouldn't wear certain costumes, but you can do whatever you want to.
All bets are off on Halloween.
Some of those what are they, like sexy nurse costumes or something you get at like Party Cities? Like, I don't know, maybe you should be wearing those around children. But Halloween is, I guess, no holds barred. So it is one of those things where you can sort of assume another identity and portray yourself in a different way. So that is, and especially for these characters who wear super suits and they have double and secret identities, for them to want to go either trick-or-treating or to celebrate Halloween, that is pretty funny and an interesting thought. I think
it also works really well as like I think this issue is like one of the darkest so far in the run in terms of like being about kind of heavier stuff, but also spooky. I think this is a good Halloween issue, honestly, like a good October issue. It's spooky. The villains are like demons that are inside your mind. And there's an early scene where Supergirl, when she is in the dream, imagines herself trick-or-treating with Lena and Lesla, and then when she turns around, they have become like vampires and like demons and things like that, like for real. And I was like, ooh, that's spooky, like that's scary. So I think that they did a good job of making this issue like a little bit unsettling, a little bit scary, and it's a good October read.
And I did have questions about that because definitely in that scene with the trick-or-treating, I think we're still in Kara's mind inside the Interverse there. But how did you read the moments where like Kara wakes up in her Wonder Woman top and she and Lesla are going out on patrol? Do you think she's actually doing that, or is this still in her mind?
I read that as being like her waking up from that dream, because the Leslie mentions, "Oh, you are you feeling okay since you passed out?" which happened at the end of last issue,
right?
And she is like, "Oh, I'm so pooped." And Leslie mentions her fainting. So I think we're supposed to take from that this is like actually happening in real life, whereas the beginning of the issue was what was happening in her dream. I do also want to point out the posters on her wall. Now, I don't know who Primo the alien is, but I do know who Carly Rae Jepsen is, and yes, good choice.
Primo the Alien, I think, is a musical act.
Oh,
Based electro pop artist Primo the Alien.
wow. You learn something new every day. I'm learning so much from this comic.
Do we think these are Sophie Campbell's favorite artists?
I think so. Yeah. Because I have never heard of. I'm gonna throw her on now. But I've never heard of Primo the Alien, and also Carly Rae Jepsen is.
I think the
great.
Mighty Crabjoys, were they also referenced? Yeah, they're in they were created for the James Gunn DCU.
Yeah, I was going to point out that the Mighty Crabjoys is like a little Easter egg to the more recent Superman movie, because that's like a fake band, I guess, that they used in that to be like, that's like accessible punk.
Clark,
pop punk.
A fan of that punk rock group. So yeah, she does. We do get to see inside Kara's bedroom, but at the end of that scene, when she and Leslie are patrolling, I think she falls back asleep.
Yeah,
maybe like midair.
Yeah, it seems like she's having a really hard time like staying awake, and then kind of falls asleep and goes back into the dream, because the next time we see her, she is like crouched underneath of a tree, kind of like out of it, sort of asleep. So I think you could imagine that. And I think Leslie even says that she like lost her. She was disoriented.
Yeah.
And she kind of I don't know. It seemed like she zoomed away or something.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense for me. I also thought it was interesting that Kara said, "I'm pooped." Because I sometimes will say that when I'm like really tired, like I'm exhausted. And I said that when I was in Ireland, I was in Belfast, because I remember I was at the Titanic. Ooh, what is that?
Oh, yeah, the Titanic exhibit.
It's like the Titanic experience.
Oh, that's on my list.
It was amazing. It's called Titanic Belfast. It is one of the coolest places in the world. And
I saw the traveling exhibit when it came through, I want to say like Philadelphia, like years and years ago. But I imagine that like the one in Belfast, like that's the legit one.
That's where they built the Titanic. And if you go to the end of like the museum display area, look for Rose and Jack on the Titanic there. You might find them. They're very tiny, but they're there. But my family, we had talked to I don't know. I don't think she was like the director of this place, but she was like, she looked like she was a high level person in this museum. And I said something to her. This is a local Belfast, I guess she'd be Northern Ireland lady. And I told her I was pooped. And she laughed at me as if I said something crazy.
So that's a pretty common phrase. I get maybe not there. Maybe
not in Belfast, but
like what?
I was like, why is this so funny? I mean, I guess pooped is a fun word, but like
it is.
But it's something I'm just used to saying all the time. And I think she thought I was like a crazy person. So
that's so funny. Yeah, it reminds me of earlier in the issue. I think Leslie is like, Lena just showed me just introduced me to coffee. Coffee is great. And she's like sort of vibrating, it seems like. And Abby says in the chat, Lena showing Leslie coffee reminded me of Mirren liking coffee in the TV series. What did he call it? Like hot bean water or something?
He called it brown water.
Brown water. That's right. Brown water.
Yeah.
He's a big fan.
He was a big fan of brown water. So yeah, that is kind of like that. Any other thoughts about the Interverse or anything related to Kara kind of breaking out of this dream state?
I just like the concept of the Interverse, that like it's like this creepy realm that they can try to pull you into at any time. I think especially if Supergirl, because of her Satan Girl brief period, like it opened up a little door, and the Interverse is like, I've been here the whole time.
I've been waiting for you. What I thought was interesting is that when Kara is sort of, I mean, I would say attacked by this Red Lantern version of her, the Red Lantern tells her, look at yourself. And Supergirl won't do it. She won't in that moment look at herself. And so I think that's what makes her or allows her to eventually kind of break free from all this stuff, is that she does probably go through all these things that she's experienced and does look at herself in that way and comes to that conclusion about her identity and who she is. But I just thought that was interesting that in the art, Kara's eyes are shut. Like she won't face who she is. I was like, this is getting a little deep for me. I'm like really having a lot of thoughts about this. But I thought the art was really good there.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts about the supporting characters, as we maybe could call them, who are helping Supergirl from the real world? Did you have any thoughts about them?
Yeah, I like that we got to see what's her name, Luna, I think.
Yes.
Luna again. I remember she popped up in the Goth issue. I did like some Googling to see if she was supposed to. I can't remember. I think the original plan was that Sophie Campbell was going to make her sort of like a deep cut character, and then was like kind of told she couldn't use that character,
right.
And swapped to an original character. But I like that we got to see her again. We haven't seen her for I think since the Goth issue, but it felt like they had been setting her up and her powers, her sort of psychic, aura reading kind of powers. And so it was fun to see her again in her little witch costume. And she immediately knew that, when you find Supergirl, like return to sender, you had to bring her back to Lena Luthor's place.
Yeah, she was sort of reading where she needed to go, and Supergirl's aura, I guess, told her where to go.
She said, you've got a sick aura, but like not in a good way. And I like that she was like, since I met you guys, and I've been reading up on my powers and figuring out how to use them. And I thought that was fun. They let her into the group so quickly. They were just like, you're part of the group now. Now you're one of us. And she's just like, I was honestly just kind of trying to drop this girl off before I went to my party.
I didn't really want to commit to anything.
I didn't really know what this is, like a sign up thing. I kind of don't give her a choice. They're like, you're one of us now. And she's like, okay.
Lena was like, we need someone with a psychic ability, and you are all we have. So
Exactly.
You have to stay and help us. What I liked about Luna is in the art, the way her powers are drawn is very interesting because it differs based on what she's doing. So like in the panel right after the Crisis on Infinite Earths homage, her powers show screaming or like scared faces. And then a couple panels later, there's like this blue sort of swirly, almost looks like a G.I. Joe logo or something. The way it's kind of sort of covering her head. And then sometimes it's like a wave when she's trying to connect to someone else. So I thought it was cool that the powers aren't just one thing. It kind of depends on what she's doing and how it's being drawn. So I thought the Luna part of it for me was really interesting based on kind of the artistic take on what those powers can look like, because that could be difficult, I would assume, to draw. How does someone think about? How do you show someone thinking things? And so I think they did a pretty good job of showing the different ways that her powers can work.
Yeah, I think they represented it visually very well. And I thought it was like, when she says that Supergirl has like a sick aura, again, not complimentary, and you see like the green all around her, and like like you said, the screaming faces and things like that. I was like, oh yeah, that does look sick. That doesn't look good at all. And I'm really interested because I feel like we know Lena. We go way back with her, and I feel like we're getting to know Lesla. Like Lesla was kind of like the first one of the first characters we were introduced to in this run. And now I'm really interested to know what like Luna's deal is, because we've kind of seen her pop up now twice, but I don't like. I want to know like what's her backstory, like what's her whole deal. We know her powers. We know she loves the goth club. But besides that, we don't know that much about her. So I'm excited to see if they're going to bring her into the fold more. If we like learn more about who she is as a character.
That's a great segue to a question that I had because Luna mentioned several times that she knows somebody named Lucretia.
Oh yeah.
And so I looked up Lucretia DC Comics, and all I found was stuff connected to Jack Kirby's Fourth World, which is basically Darkseid and the Apocalypse. So I
Ooh.
don't know if where is Luna from? What do we know
Luna?
about Luna? She's friends with somebody from Apocalypse. What
Luna, who do
can
you
we trust
know?
this chick? I don't know.
I like the idea of like maybe they should vet people a little bit more before letting them into the group. It's like, yes, I know it worked out with Lesla, but like how lonely do we think Luna is? Because
Well, maybe Luna's
does she just
okay.
want a friend too?
Maybe Luna's okay. We can keep her around, but maybe Lucretia, like don't
Lucretia, don't trust her. Let's not trust her.
I'm assuming that's how you say it, but I'm not 100%. So if I'm saying it incorrectly, someone let me know. But that I thought was interesting. I could not find more about a Lucretia in DC Comics other than that. So we'll have to see if we get to meet her. Okay, so this comic does end on kind of an interesting note, and Abby asks a question in the chat saying, on the last panel where everyone is leaving Lena's lab, there is a monster from the inner realm, the innerverse. What are your theories? Did it escape, or is it something just to add to the art? So Abby is right. In the last panel, there's a little sort of winged friend with a one eyeball who is sort of floating in the air like a floating eyeball with wings.
Yeah, we see him in the innerverse quite a bit. He's like,
on Night Flame's, I say he, it could be a she, I don't know.
Yeah.
On Night Flame's shoulder.
That's true.
Like Night Flame's little buddy.
Yeah, and as she's walking away, you can see the little little floaty eyeball guy like really well when she says see you guys tomorrow. Almost highlight it, I think, in that panel, because my eyes go to that little creature immediately because I think it's cute. But yeah, it does make me wonder. I feel like the last time we saw something, one of the issues ended like this, it was the ooze, right? I think it was from the Goth Club.
Oh, yes.
That then infected all of the
super substance, I think is
the super substance that infected all of those kittens.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That ended up being a problem for Streaky. So I wonder if the escaped little creature is going to carry over into the next issue and cause some trouble.
So I have so many questions about how this would happen, though, because didn't all the innerverse is in Kara's mind? Yes,
presumably, yeah.
So how does it come out of her mind into the real world?
That's a great question.
Because then that means Night Flame could also come into the real world.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that
assume.
Absolutely could.
So these demons could come out of the innerverse and come to the real world. So that could cause some problems if that's the case. It could just be a fun little thing that Sophie Campbell put in as an artistic flair at the end, or it could be foreshadowing something. I don't know. I haven't read farther than this issue, so
I know.
I guess we'll have to see what happens.
I know. It's like, I mean, did that little guy escape? Like, did that little creature escape and is like gonna go on the rampage now, or will he never see that creature again? I don't know, but I did think that there was like a fun little like dun 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 at the end.
Is this kind of like how Supergirl has Crypto and Streaky and Lesla has Candy? Is this Night Flame's little like super pet?
That's what Abby says in the chat. It says Night Flame super pet. Yeah, I mean everybody does in this run have their own super pet. It feels like So I could see like this is Night Flame's super pet, and in that case, look, I'm kind of sad. Like Night Flame's gonna really miss his
Yeah,
little
she's got
buddy.
other demons still there in the universe.
Yeah, but I mean,
I-
it's not as cute as that one.
Well, maybe not. But I would be curious if like the super pets take on this little guy, and like they become friends. Maybe he
that would be
becomes part of
fun.
their legion of super pets. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. If I am going to embrace Candy the bunny, maybe I can embrace whatever this one-eyed winged creature is. I could be into that.
What did Abby call him? I can't. It's the
Spooky
monster.
Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc.
And that's kind of what. Yeah, that I was like, why do I feel so at home with this creature? So comforted by it. It's like,
why does it make me want to appreciate dad jokes all of a sudden?
I don't know. It's
So I guess Morgan, do you have any additional thoughts that we didn't cover, or any closing thoughts about this issue?
So Stanley asked the question that I, as somebody who hasn't read this, can't answer. Is this issue better than Adventure 421?
I think, 421 is the originator of this idea, so I have to give it props for that. I think I enjoyed Supergirl 2025 number 6 a little more, just because I thought it had a deeper meaning to it. Some of the writing I thought really made me think about things. Adventure Comics number 421 is more kind of a Supergirl kind of fighting her way out of it. And then there's also kind of a romance at the end, because the person who helps her out psychically is a man named Jeff. So so they have a little kissing a scene at the end of that issue. So Supergirl comes out of it like really appreciative of how Jeff has helped her out there. So there's more of a romance in Adventure Comics number 421. Also, there is Nasty Luther in 421. So that gives Adventure Comics 421 a leg up, is that Nasty Luther is in it. And this is also the era where Supergirl is a camera operator at a TV station in San Francisco. So part of me likes it for that, because they're using words like photog and stuff like that news photographers, like if you see a news cameraman out in the field for like local TV news, they call them photogs. So someone writing that had to have had experience as a news person, because nobody just call someone a photog. That's a very local news term. So there are parts of it that I enjoy over Supergirl 2025 number 6, but I think Sophie Campbell took the idea of that, and I think really said something about the character of Supergirl that I really liked. So it just kind of depends on what you want. Do you want a more deeper meaning, or do you want to like hang out with Nasty Luther?
I mean, yeah, that's
you could do both.
Choice. That's a hard choice to make. I want to know when we're getting Nasty Luther in this Sophie Campbell run.
I feel like she should show up.
I mean,
if she's pulling from this era so heavily, come on.
I know. We know Nasty's out there.
I don't know why people don't want to put like Luthers together. I guess there's the hesitancy, like, oh, you've got Lena in this story, don't put Lex in there. Or you've got Lena in here, don't put Nasty in there. There's too many Luthers.
But
like,
what if we put all of them? What if we get all of them in the same room? What if we get Lex, Lena, Nasty?
I think we should. I don't know why people fight that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think Nasty could show up and have a conversation with Lena.
I think so too.
Why couldn't they?
They're cousins,
or
right?
Or some
of some kind.
Of some kind, I think. It
kind
of depends on how you. It depends on how you want to write it. Maybe they could be sisters. I don't know.
Twist.
Maybe it could be her aunt. Maybe Aunt Nasty Luther could come by. I don't know. You could do whatever you want to in this one. So I think hopefully we'll get Nasty Luther at some point, because Sophie Campbell is really at home in that era of Supergirl stories. So any closing thoughts here, Morgan? What did you think about this one?
I'm going to surface a comment from Stanley from earlier in the chat. Says, love that Sophie Campbell knows Supergirl well. Curious where this story is going.
Yeah, I think she's done a good job of referencing Supergirl's history. She's clearly read a lot. She knows her stuff. And what I like about this, and also that Krypto, the last Dog of Krypton story that we're reading, it's like it could be anything. I don't know. I have no inclinations about where this could go, and I like that. I like that.
It could go anywhere. In the case of the crypto story, more dogs could die. Anything's possible. There's so many creatures that haven't been killed off in that run yet.
No dogs have been killed in the Sophie Campbell Supergirl.
Not in this one. Not in this one. I do like that this run has been a little bit more like episodic. I kind of feel like it's like an old, like, 90s, early 2000s, like TV show, like a 22 episode TV show where we're like, we're just having some fun. We're like bopping around from thing to thing. At some point, do I want it to like have maybe a little bit more of an overarching storyline? Maybe. I don't even know. Honestly, I'm enjoying it so much right now. But I do like the episodic nature of it. I like that we can go from a very like light issue, like the one, the Super Pets issue, straight into something that's like a lot darker, heavier, more character focused on Supergirl, like this issue. And I didn't feel like it was a wild tone shift or anything. Each issue, even though they're all very episodic, feel like the same tone, the same, the writing feels good. So I don't feel like I'm like going up and down, like when we were reading some of the Rebirth stuff, where it'd be like from issue to issue, it'd be like, what's happening? Even though the issues here can be kind of wildly different, I don't get that same sense of whiplash. So I'm kind of like just kind of along for the ride, to be honest.
It feels that like it's in the same realm. It's in the same kind of level of things. So I agree with that. I think it is kind of adhering to the same style and the same storytelling and the same world building. So it doesn't feel like it's going up or down for me either. I'm still really enjoying this run. I think this was a really good look at Supergirl's dark side, if you want to call it that. But I think this one was a good character study on Supergirl. And I'm always a big fan of those kinds of things because I love Supergirl's history. And I'm glad to see that someone else, namely Sophie Campbell, really loves Supergirl history and is teaching me things in the process. So I really enjoy that. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. If you'd like to contact us, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on X and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Supergirl Radio is part of the DCTV Podcast and Multiverse of Color Networks. And you can hang out with us as we go live and wired on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the DCTV Podcast YouTube channel. DCTV Podcast also has a TeePublic store. So if you're in need of new DC or DCTV or DC Comics related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, magnets, tote bags, pens, phone cases, pillows, or stickers, and also shorts. I think we found out recently that shorts are available. If you want shorts, you can get them now in the TeePublic store. You can go to supergirlradio.com and click on the link at the top of the page, or if I can pull it up in StreamYard now, we have a QR code. So while we're talking about it, if you want to scan something, go to the QR code and check that out.
Yes, scan it now. As Abby points out very correctly, shorts for the summer of Supergirl.
Oh, you got to get ready.
You can get ready right now, baby. Right now. And since this issue referenced Red Lanterns, we have some Green Lantern designs in the DC TV Podcast TeePublic store that we would love to suggest. Maybe you care for Green Lantern.
Morgan famously does not care.
I do not care for Green Lantern, but maybe these designs will change my mind.
Yeah, so we have some Green Lantern. We don't have any Red Lantern. Red Lanterns famously are angry. Their rage. The red is all about their anger and their rage. But Green Lantern, he's over there kind of, just trying to save the world. And he's doing fun things with his constructs. So if you want to check out the Green Lantern designs that we actually have some cool ones in the store. store. So definitely go check those out if you would like to do so. Also, I think this is where we need to talk about our legion of super sponsors for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael, Sam, Anne Marie, Yvonne, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Majuba, Annie, Rachel, and Kit. If you'd like to become a legion of super sponsor, you can go to patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. And I believe if my schedule went up correctly, our Joker review has gone up, so we might need to do a Joker folie à deux.
We do have to do folie à deux, and I've been folie à putting it off, but I believe I can do it no longer.
Yeah, I think now that we have gone through the first Joker, I think we need to go through the second Joker. Maybe that could be in addition to the Scream 3 that we keep talking about. Maybe that could be part of Spooky Season 2. Because,
It's a little spooky.
like a mad love. There's
Crazy.
some crazy people like falling in love. I mean, I feel like that's part of Spooky Season.
Spooky, that's spooky. Couples that sort of, do a couple's costume. That could be spooky. You don't know.
I mean, they are kind of, I think, sort of having mental breakdowns where they do these musical numbers together. So that could be creepy.
Sure,
and
yeah, that's really. I mean, a musical that's creepy to some people. Some people don't like those.
I happen to love them.
I love a good musical.
Yeah, me too.
When they announced that this was going to be a musical, I was like, "That's insane! I don't know that that'll be good. I'm in."
Yeah, I didn't mind it so much, but we'll see if the story of Joker 2 folie à deux does it hold up. I don't know.
I bet the songs are great though.
I bet the musical numbers are really high quality.
I'm like, I love the musical numbers. Like the story. No. Let's go back to the musical numbers.
We will have to determine that for ourselves when we review folie à deux in the future. If you would like to follow me on the interwebs, you can follow me in a couple places. I'm on Instagram at the Derby Kid. I'm also on the social media platform Bureau at Derby Kid over there. Also have a YouTube channel that you can find at youtube.com/duckmilkprod, where one of these days I'm going to get new content up. But if you want to just go ahead and subscribe, you'll never miss a video.
That's how I feel when I promote the Legendary Ladies podcast. You should just subscribe. When will it come out? That is for you to find out. A little surprise. We are planning to record this week about the new Office spinoff, The Paper, and also the new Taylor Swift album. So that's what will be coming out in like the next few weeks. If you're a Patreon supporter of the Legendary Ladies podcast, you'll be getting one of those episodes early. That's fun. And also, speaking of my fellow legendary ladies, as always, Kat has a new Kickstarter that just launched today. It is called The Witching Season. And perhaps you will see a familiar name among the comic writer credits. That's right. I wrote a story for her fun witch anthology, and I got to be really spooky. And I had a lot of fun with it. So you should definitely go and support the Kickstarter, read my story, read all the other stories. I'm excited. I mean, as a contributor to these things, you only ever get to read your own. So I'm always excited to get them because, like, honestly, most of it is new to me as well. And I think that they have a lot of really fun contributors to this one that will make it, a really, really fun get for comic fans. So you should definitely go check that out on Kickstarter. It's called The Witching Season. And I think maybe Rebecca will put like a link somewhere. We'll do a link, but also a QR code is up on the screen. Oh my gosh, look at that.
StreamYard has, if you're watching the video on the live stream, we do have a QR code. So
we're really loving this new QR code.
I'm really abusing the QR codes on the live stream.
QR codes for everything.
I need one for the Patreon. I don't have one for the Patreon, so we'll have to get that soon.
Yeah, it just launched today. It's doing pretty well, so exciting stuff.
I have a question. Did you get to pitch what story you wanted to write, or did Kat assign you something?
No, I was just like, hey, I would like to write something for the anthology, and I submitted my my little comic, and she was like, cool, that sounds good. So yeah, the first time I was jumping in at sort of the last minute to fill a hole, so she gave me this sort of a broad concept, but this time it was like just me and the empty page.
You're
Which
like,
was a scary place to be, honestly. I was like, witches.
that's exciting. Well, you're one step closer to writing a Supergirl comic, and I feel like if
we're
anyone
laying
should write
the-
one.
We're laying the groundwork brick by brick, baby.
So I think that's exciting. So go support it if you can. Well, that I think is gonna do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon. And in case you were wondering, there's still time to go trick-or-treating.
McGurk! I love
Not mess
typing.
with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!